What was your thought when you realized that this was what I thought we should do instead?
I think I just said, yeah, go for it, but then I immediately went into panic mode of how in the ever-loving fuck are we going to shoot this?
It's a really good question.
So I called...
So valid.
I called my very good friend Will Backer, who has now agreed to be our cinematographer, who has shot an entire movie by himself. Every time we did a thing with technology, he gave us advice, or at least gave me advice on the side. And we knew that if we were going to be able to raise money to do this thing, we would need to do this with somewhere in between the crew that we had on Without Words and the crew that we had on Dreamtime.
First movie, technology, what was it? What was the camera?
So before we did this work together, in 2003, when I graduated college, I wanted to make this feature film, and that movie will never see the light of day, and that's fine. So I got my friends together, our friend Mike, who was basically held camera for almost everything, and then our friend Brian, who held the boom mic. And so I got this camera. It was the Panasonic DVX100, the first prosumer camera that could shoot 24 frames per second. It's also standard def, which means that now I'm blowing that footage up to look like this, and it all has lots of grain and looks rough.
It does, but that's perfect because so there are 3 time frames that this movie takes place in that are interwoven, right? So this is the first one. The first one is the rough one, right? Because these are all like 3 places of a relationship, right? So you have the before they get together, when there's the drama or there's the sort of tension and it's not quite right. And it's older, like literally older. So the grain works. It's really awesome, right? Second movie, Without Words. And this one was...
It's the romantic one.
It's the romantic one because it is the one where they end up together.
By that time, 5 years later, they now had a camera that could shoot all of that, but it was actually an HD camera. It was called the Canon 5D Mark III, and everybody was using it. And you could get something that was actually high def now and looked filmic because you could put nice Canon glass on it. So we had our friend Chris, who is a professional DP now, come in and like make a thing that
So we had a crew and it was great. I mean, I think that the stress of the second movie was the fact that we had to do it in a very short amount of time. We were like
5 days.
5 days. So this one we had a budget. And so when you have a budget, suddenly...
Well, the time it takes to make everything look prettier, to make it look romantic, was longer than we took on the first one. And so we had to move very fast in order to get the look we wanted. But it's the straight up rom-com part of it, right? It's the love story part where everything kind of comes together.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's the stuff at sunset.
And then part trois.
We might be able to get a crew for some of it, and for others of it, we're gonna bring Mike back in and have him hold the camera for us, which he would probably do because he's a dear friend, but his time is more valuable now for some reason as we've all gotten older and have responsibilities. But I just kind of talked to Will and said, how can we do this? And he said, well, there's a Sony camera, and if you do this, you can use these lenses and you can shoot this thing with mostly natural light. You don't have to light it the way you had to light part 2. And get it looking somewhere between naturalistic and Hollywood blockbuster with very little extra work, and that's important.
I think we were really excited about that because we both gravitate towards, both movies we watch and movies we've made in the past, gravitate towards the creativity of sort of doing that, of having not quite Dogma where it's like, oh God, that's so dark right there. Please don't do that.
But that was back on DVD.
But exactly, if they had Dogma film now, it's like, haha, you know. But anyway, so
if they would have shot that on an iPhone, it probably would have looked great.
Yeah, honestly. But I think that, you know, this idea of naturalism, and it excited us that there's this opportunity where we don't need all this technology on the outside. It's really about the connections between the people.
I'm also just grateful that it means that we can go a little bit more stripped down on this one and be a little bit more naturalistic. Not only does it suit the story where it's like we have this rough memories of the past, and then we have this kind of somewhat romanticized, elevated time that they got together, and now we're in the real world.
What happens after?
We're in the shit of how hard it is. And so that feeling the most, not ugly raw, but just the most natural and immediate feels right.